What if I told you that women don't just fall in love, they slowly surrender to the man who makes them feel truly seen? Most men will never understand the hidden emotional process that pulls a woman's heart closer moment by moment. But once you do, everything changes. In this video, you'll uncover the truth about how women really fall in love, the signs, the emotions, and the moments she'll never admit out loud. Don't skip a second, because the last part might just reveal why she suddenly pulled away or why she can't stop thinking about you. Watch till the end. It could change how you connect with women forever. Comment below where you're watching from and hit Subis to join our community of self-aware men becoming irresistibly confident. When we talk about how women fall in love, most men immediately think of attraction. The look in her eyes, the way she smiles, the spark in her voice. But what they don't realize is that true love for a woman doesn't begin with what she sees. It begins with what she feels. Emotional connection comes before physical attraction. Always, you can be tall, successful, even charming, but if you can't make her feel emotionally understood, she'll never truly connect with you. A woman falls in love when she feels safe enough to be vulnerable, when she senses that your presence calms her inner chaos instead of adding to it. Every woman, deep down, is searching for emotional safety, a space where she doesn't have to wear her armor. You see, women are not drawn to men who simply talk, they are drawn to men who listen. Not the kind of listening that waits for a turn to speak, but the kind that makes her feel heard without judgment. That kind of listening is powerful. It tells her, you matter. Your emotions are valid. When a man masters that, he unlocks something primal in her heart, trust. And once trust is there, love becomes inevitable. This is where most men get it wrong. They think love is built through pursuit, through chasing, impressing, or proving themselves. But love for a woman doesn't thrive in chaos, it blooms in emotional peace. She doesn't want to be conquered. She wants to be understood. She doesn't fall for the loudest man in the room. She falls for the one who makes her feel grounded in silence. It's not the man who tries to fix her problems, but the one who gives her space to feel without fear of being dismissed. Emotional connection is not about saying the right words. It's about creating the right energy. The energy that tells her, you don't have to pretend with me. That's when a woman lets her guard down, because love, for her, is not an instant decision. It's a gradual unfolding. Every moment she feels emotionally safe around you. She's writing a silent story in her heart, a story where you are the person she can lean on, not because you're perfect, but because you're present. The truth is, women fall in love through emotional resonance. This means that when she feels your energy align with hers, when she senses your authenticity, your empathy, your emotional intelligence, something inside her awakens. It's not logical, it's not planned, it's emotional synchronization. She begins to feel that your presence enhances her sense of self rather than threatens it. And that's when she starts to open up. Slowly, cautiously, but deeply. Think about this when a woman laughs freely around you, when her eyes soften, when her voice lowers. Those are not random moments. Those are signs of emotional safety. She's letting you into her world piece by piece. And how you handle those moments determines whether she builds walls or bridges. If you respond with warmth and patience, she connects. If you react with arrogance or indifference, she withdraws. It's that simple and that profound. So many men misunderstand this dynamic because they're conditioned to believe that strength is about dominance or control. But the kind of strength that attracts a woman's heart is emotional composure, the ability to remain grounded when she's overwhelmed and present when she's distant. When you stop trying to impress her and start trying to understand her, you shift from being an option to being her emotional anchor. That's when love becomes possible. Psychologically, emotional connection activates the same areas of the brain that respond to safety and belonging. When a woman feels that around you, her body releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It's what makes her feel at ease in your presence and crave your company. But when she senses inconsistency, lack of attention, or emotional distance, her defenses rise. She pulls back, not because she doesn't care, but because her subconscious no longer feels protected. If you want to understand how women truly fall in love, stop focusing on how to make her like you and start focusing on how to make her feel safe being herself around you. When she senses your authenticity, when your words and actions align, and when your energy remains stable even when she tests your patience. That's when she starts to let love in. She'll never say it out loud, but she'll begin to trust that being close to you won't cost her peace. So the next time you're with a woman, don't just look at her. Feel her energy. Notice the subtle changes in her tone, her pauses, her silence. Be present. Don't rush to fill every gap with words. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer her is your calm, undivided attention. That's where emotional intimacy begins, not in what you say, but in how deeply you make her feel seen. And when a woman feels emotionally seen, love is no longer a mystery. It becomes a natural response to your authenticity. She doesn't fall in love with what you do. She falls in love with who you are when you make her feel emotionally safe. Because at the end of the day, the deepest form of attraction isn't physical or material. It's emotional safety. And when you give her that, she won't just love you, she'll never forget you. Consistency and effort, two of the most underestimated yet powerful forces in the way women fall in love. Every woman pays attention to them, whether she admits it or not. In a world filled with uncertainty and emotional confusion, consistency stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. It tells her, you're safe here. You can trust this energy. You see, a woman doesn't fall in love because of the big promises. She falls in love because of the small, repeated actions that match your words. It's not the expensive gifts, not the dramatic declarations, but the steady rhythm of effort. The call when you said you would call. The text that says, I'm thinking about you. The way you show up without excuses. Those are the moments that tell her she matters. Psychologically, consistency communicates stability, and stability builds trust. Trust, in turn, is the foundation upon which emotional intimacy grows. A woman's emotional system is built on feeling secure enough to open up. When a man is inconsistent, when his words and actions don't align, she doesn't just lose interest, her subconscious registers danger. Her instincts tell her that she can't rely on you, and love cannot exist where there's emotional unpredictability. Love for her is not about constant excitement, it's about consistent reassurance. This is where many men fail without realizing it. They start strong, the attention, the pursuit, the promises, but slowly their effort fades. And when that happens, a woman doesn't complain because she's needy. She reacts because the emotional pattern that made her feel secure has been broken. To her, inconsistency feels like emotional abandonment. It's not about the message left on read or the missed call. It's about what those moments represent. They represent a shift in energy, a loss of connection, and to her emotional mind, that is deeply unsettling. Consistency tells her that your intentions are real. It tells her that your affection isn't temporary, and that you're not just showing up when it's convenient for you. When a woman feels that kind of reliability, her heart starts to relax. She stops questioning your motives, she stops overthinking your actions, and she begins to trust the flow of connection. That's when love begins to grow, quietly but powerfully. Effort, on the other hand, is the physical manifestation of emotional investment. Every woman wants to feel chosen, not just noticed. Effort tells her that you're not just interested in her attention, but in her presence, in her as a person. And effort doesn't always mean doing more. It often means doing enough. Enough to remind her that you care, enough to make her feel valued, enough to show her that she's not an afterthought. Because when you stop trying, she feels it. Women are emotionally intuitive. They can sense when your energy shifts, even before you realize it yourself. What's interesting is that consistency and effort are not just attractive, they're deeply masculine traits. They come from a place of purpose, discipline, and emotional maturity. When a man is consistent, it shows he has control over his emotions. that he's not swayed by mood, temptation, or distraction. When he continues to show effort even after comfort has set in, it shows that his love is intentional, not accidental. That's the kind of energy that makes a woman feel safe enough to surrender emotionally. Philosophically, love thrives in predictability, not monotony, but emotional dependability. When a woman knows what to expect from you, her nervous system relaxes. That relaxation becomes attachment. The absence of fear becomes attraction. And over time, her love deepens because she no longer loves you for how you make her feel in moments, but for how you make her feel consistently. Men often underestimate the impact of reliability. They think they need to constantly impress her with something new. But women don't fall for perfection. They fall for consistency. They fall for the man who remembers her favorite coffee, the one who keeps his promises, the one who doesn't disappear when life gets busy. In her mind, that consistency becomes synonymous with safety, and safety is love's most fertile ground. When your actions are steady, your words carry more weight. When you keep showing up, even when it's inconvenient, your presence becomes a form of devotion. That's how effort transforms into emotional credibility. And once you have that credibility, love becomes effortless. She'll trust your silence, believe your words, and lean into your presence without fear. But when you break that pattern, even once, something shifts inside her. She starts to second guess your intentions, replaying every moment, searching for what changed. That's not insecurity. That's her emotional defense system trying to protect her from inconsistency. Women don't crave perfection. They crave emotional predictability. So, if you truly want a woman to fall in love with you, make consistency your language and effort your rhythm. Don't just say you care, prove it through repetition. Don't just be present when it's easy. Be reliable when it's hard. Because love, to her, is not built in the grand gestures of passion, but in the quiet constancy of presence. In the end, love isn't about intensity. It's about endurance. It's about showing up again and again until she stops doubting and starts believing. And when she finally feels that steady energy, she doesn't just fall in love with you. She begins to trust love itself again. Because the truth is simple, a woman doesn't fall for a man who says he'll be there. She falls for the one who always is. Vulnerability, it's a word that makes many men uncomfortable. They've been taught their entire lives that showing emotion is a weakness. That to be a man means to be unshakable, silent, and in control. But what most men don't realize is that vulnerability is not the opposite of strength. It is one of its purest forms. It's the bridge between emotional connection and deep intimacy. And when it comes to love, it's the moment where everything real begins. A woman doesn't fall in love with the mask you wear. She falls in love with the man behind it. She doesn't connect with perfection. She connects with authenticity. When a man allows himself to be emotionally transparent, when he admits his fears, his dreams, and even his uncertainties, he gives her something far more powerful than confidence. He gives her truth. And women fall in love with truth because truth feels safe. You see, vulnerability invites reciprocity. When you open up, she feels permission to do the same. That exchange creates emotional intimacy, the very thing that makes love feel real and lasting. A man who hides his emotions may appear strong, but he builds walls that love cannot enter. A man who embraces vulnerability builds trust because he communicates something profound without saying it. You can see me, the real me, and I'm not afraid of being seen. In the psychological sense, vulnerability is emotional risk-taking. It's the courage to reveal yourself without guarantees. And that courage is magnetic to women because it signals emotional maturity, depth, and confidence in one's identity. When you can share your truth without the need for validation, you show that you are grounded, that your self-worth isn't dependent on external approval. That is strength in its most evolved form. Philosophically, vulnerability is an act of surrender, not to another person, but to the truth of your own humanity. It's acknowledging that love cannot be controlled, that connection requires exposure. Every meaningful relationship begins when two people stop performing and start feeling. When a man pretends to be emotionless, He might protect himself from pain, but he also blocks himself from intimacy. A woman can feel that emotional distance. Even when everything else seems perfect, she senses when you're holding back, when your words don't fully match your energy. And in that moment, she hesitates because no woman can fully love a man who is emotionally unavailable. The paradox is that the very thing men fear, being emotionally seen, is the very thing that makes them unforgettable. When you're vulnerable, you're real. And when you're real, you stand out. Every woman can tell the difference between a man who hides behind charm and one who speaks from his soul. The first feels performative, temporary. The second feels timeless. Vulnerability also dismantles the illusion of control in relationships. You cannot make someone love you. You can only show them who you are and give them the space to choose you. That's what makes vulnerability so terrifying and so beautiful. Because it's honest, it strips away the manipulation, the games, the guardedness, and it replaces them with authenticity. When you're authentic, you're not trying to impress her. You're allowing her to understand you. And that's what creates connection that outlasts attraction. Think about it. The moments that create deep emotional bonds are never the ones filled with perfection. They're the moments of shared imperfection. The night you admitted you were scared, the time you confessed a mistake. The honesty that came when you said, "I don't have all the answers, but I'm trying." Those are the moments a woman remembers. Those are the moments that make her fall because they reveal your humanity. When a man is vulnerable, it doesn't make him less masculine. It makes his masculinity multidimensional. It shows that his strength isn't fragile, that he can hold space for both his power and his pain. And that duality, that emotional range, is what makes a man emotionally irresistible. Women don't fall for indifference, they fall for depth. They don't fall for the man who hides his emotions, they fall for the one who owns them. From a psychological perspective, vulnerability activates empathy. When you share your truth, her brain responds by producing oxytocin, the bonding hormone that deepens connection and trust. It's not the words themselves, but the emotional resonance behind them that creates attachment. That's why honest communication always outlasts charm, because it connects at a deeper, primal level where logic has no control. Many men believe that vulnerability will make them lose respect in a relationship, but the opposite is true. When done with confidence and self-awareness, vulnerability commands respect. It shows that you are emotionally intelligent enough to express yourself without shame. It's not about oversharing or being dependent. It's about authenticity, about saying, "This is who I am," without pretense. And that kind of honesty can't be faked. If you want to build a connection that feels alive, you have to be brave enough to be seen. Not just your strengths, but your struggles. Women connect deeply with honesty because it reflects their own emotional world. Love at its core is not about perfection, it's about resonance, the recognition of self in another. And you cannot create resonance without vulnerability. So, when you think about what makes a woman fall in love, understand that it's not your status, your looks, or your words. It's your emotional openness. It's the way you let her see your heart without fear. Because when you have the courage to show your real self, you give her the freedom to do the same. And that's when love truly begins, not when you impress her, but when you reach her. Because the truth is, vulnerability doesn't make you weaker. It makes you unforgettable. And in the end, it's not the mask she'll fall in love with, it's the man who had the courage to take it off.